The NASA Space Shuttle program was one of the most ambitious and technically challenging projects undertaken by man. Space travel was still a fairly recent reality at the time of launch of the first shuttle mission on April 12, 1981. The shuttle program's intent, to send a craft into space and then have it return safely to Earth for reuse, was certainly an amazing feat to accomplish. The team of engineers and scientists that worked on the shuttle program were responsible for 135 successful launches. Sadly, the number of landings was not the same count. In this presentation, we will discuss one of two unsuccessful shuttle missions that resulted in tragedy. Only 73 seconds into its 10th mission, on January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. The cause of this explosion was found to be the failure of an O-ring seal. This O-ring seal was located in a segment of one of the solid rocket boosters, or SRBs. The failure of the seal permitted gases to escape, causing flames to develop on the outside radius of the SRB. This was very close to the primary liquid hydrogen fuel tank upon which the shuttle was mounted. The flames eventually penetrated the liquid fuel tank. The ignition of the liquid fuel caused a destructive and sudden explosion that tragically resulted in the deaths of all 7 crew members. This engineering disaster has become a very potent case study in the need for rigorous testing and ethical decision-making for engineers around the world. This catastrophe would have been avoided had ethical principles been applied to the situation by those in authority. In regards to the ethical considerations of the public safety, NASA categorized the solid rocket boosters with a critical 1R rating. This meant that their failure would likely result in loss of life. Due to falling debris, the failure of the SRB not only cost the lives of the astronauts, but endangered any of the public who were in the vicinity. The known data that indicated a link between colder launch temperatures and O-ring incident damage was not regarded with the weight it should have been given. The firm that was contracted to produce the solid rocket boosters, Shuttle, failed to uphold their ethical accountability to NASA and the astronauts they were responsible for. Shuttle was more concerned with the possible loss of business and money than with human lives. Shuttle was well aware of the danger in using their O-ring at such low temperatures, but pushed it aside as a possibility they did not see occurring. An engineer at Shuttle, Roger Boisjoli, reported the near-definite failure of the O-ring at cold temperatures to his boss, Vice President of Engineering, Robert Lund. The senior Vice President, Mason, was reported to have said, "Take off your engineering hat and put on your business hat," to VP Lund when he tried to confront Mason about the imminent destruction of the Challenger minutes before launch. Not only was this an absurd request of an engineer, but it was a reckless one that Boisjoli knew would put human lives in danger. The explosion of the Challenger and loss of lives weren't due to engineers. Those were perpetrated by people more concerned with business and their bottom line. Robert Boisjoli, who was responsible for the data that could have saved lives, was treated unethically at Shuttle after he reported his findings to Roger's commission. His testimony exposed his company of hiding secrets that cost human lives and created a national tragedy. After a time, Boisjoli was put on sick leave and then long-term disability, the total time of his absence equaling 2 years. Boisjoli was treated unfairly and terribly for doing the right thing. The investigation of the shuttle tragedy required a lengthy naval search mission which totaled $13.1 million. Over the next 2 years, the joints, motors, and full assemblies were subjected to rigorous and costly testing. This also led to the addition of a third O-ring. Finally, the impact on human life was tremendous, including the loss of 7 NASA crew members as well as a worsened quality of life for Robert Boisjoli.